So, this is another one of those traveling across Canada stories. And this was before the tonsillitis, for those keeping track. I was going from Winnipeg to... Winnipeg to Toronto. And I had been traveling up to this point. I'd been traveling by Greyhound bus. However, the Greyhound bus from Winnipeg to Toronto was a 25-hour journey, I want to say. And it was going to cost something, 26-hour journey. And it was going to take... it was going to cost, about $190, 190 Canadian dollars. However, if I flew to what's the name of the ironworking town just south of Toronto? Hamilton, thank you. If I flew to Hamilton and then caught the bus from Hamilton to Toronto, the flight to Hamilton was $200, and the bus from Hamilton to Toronto is like 10, if that, maybe 450, something like that. And it was going to take 4 hours all up rather than 25. So I opted for the pretty much the same price, 20 hours faster route. However, I didn't account for the fact that I would be arriving in Toronto at 2 o'clock in the morning. I completely forgot about that, which wouldn't normally be a big deal, except for the fact that all of the hostels in Toronto were booked out that weekend, just completely at capacity, because there was a Blue Jays game on, and it was like the first time the Blue Jays were playing this other team after one of the Blue Jays had been traded to this other team, and so it was like a big deal. So I had to book my accommodation quite outside of Toronto. Still part of Toronto, but in the greater Toronto area. And little did I know that it was an hour 20, maybe an hour 10, outside of Toronto by train. Still in Toronto, just real far away. But also, their check-in time ended at 10:30. And like I just mentioned, I got to Toronto at 2 a.m., so I couldn't check in. So I quickly pulled up bookings.com, and I looked for something nearby. And there was about 2.5-3 kilometers away was a place called Fillmore's. And I thought, okay, Fillmore's, cool. They had space available, and it wasn't too expensive. It was like $90 for the night, which is like 3 nights at a hostel.
Do you have any luck with
But
the rules?
what are you going to do? When you're in a situation like that, you just have to deal with it.
The guy.
I had a 30-kilogram backpack on. I had a 10-kilogram front pack on. And I had to walk uphill the entire time to get to this place called Fillmore's.
Okay.
And it's just in a city I don't know. At the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. So I left the train station or the bus station and started walking. And it was maybe a half an hour walk So it must have been further than 3 kilometers. It must have been more like 9 kilometers. It was about a half an hour walk. And as I was rounding the corner, I was like following the Google Maps, and it said, around the corner is Fillmore's. Awesome. So I turned around the corner, big neon lights, Fillmore's. There was a sign, one of those signs you slide the letters into, like the old movie theaters have. And it said, come in, our girls are open. And I thought, okay, this might not be the establishment that I'm hoping for. So I get in there and I see there's 2 doors. There's one door that leads down into the darkness, and the second door that's got like the reinforced glass with the wire inside leading upstairs into the light, which take that how you will. And it was locked, and I kind of knocked and it got buzzed open, and as I'm walking up the stairs, I see this very scantily clad woman covered in tattoos, leading a man by the hand into some back room, which was cool and exciting. I've got this red bucket hat on. I've got my massive backpack, my massive front pack. I couldn't look more innocent if you'd written the word innocent on a sign and stuck it to my backpack. And I got up there, and the receptionist was the greasiest looking man. Like, if you think receptionist for a strip club, that's what the guy looked like. He was big and round. He had the greasiest comb over you ever did see. And I said, hi, I'm Fish. I called a little bit earlier about a room. And he said, yes. We've got rooms. Do you want the smoking or non-smoking section? Sorry, I didn't realize you could have smoking and non-smoking sections in hotels. But I'll go non-smoking, thank you. And he said, and are you planning on having anyone accompany you to the room tonight? I said, no.
Never mind. Don't care. You've got 2 more
2
days
to deal with the reputation. Okay. I was like, no, I don't. I was like, well, if you do, it's going to cost an extra $30 because it's after 11 o'clock, and we need a $50 deposit for the room key in case you go crazy and trash the place. I was like, okay. So here's your money, and as I gave him my ID as well because you need to take details. And as he was doing it, he's like, "Now, are you sure you don't want anyone? You're not expecting anyone to accompany you to the room?" Yes, 100%. Are you sure? Very, very sure. Like, okay, well, again, if you do. Like, right. So I took all my stuff. I took my room key. I started heading upstairs to the non-smoking section. And get into my room. And I was so afraid to touch anything. I was so afraid to touch anything. Everything seemed so unclean. But after a little while, it ended up being a pretty nice place. Like, I got my own room, I had my own ensuite, there was a double bed, there was a massive TV in the room. I thought, this is actually pretty awesome. So I ended up getting real snuggly, hung out my clothes that needed to be hung out. It was a good time. But far out. I was very surprised about what was going on. The place is literally meant for swingers to bring Johns. Yeah, man. That's right. That's what I did. I slept there. And sex workers. Yeah, I'm sure. Only about 3 days later, I matched with someone on Tinder who lived literally just around the corner from the place and were telling me, oh, this is a really sketchy area. This is a really dangerous area. I'm really surprised you didn't get, like, mugged or anything. Like, wow, okay. So that was pretty interesting. But I got to they let me crash on their couch for a few nights as well, which is really cool. Went to go see Niagara Falls and all sorts of good fun stuff. Talk about the wrong neighborhood. It was the closest place that had rooms available, Suck. That's all I can tell you. I just got lucky. I got lucky and I didn't get attacked. The following morning, I called up the place that I was supposed to be staying, which I'd already paid for, I might add, so that was cool. And I said, hey, I was supposed to get there last night. I didn't show up. I apologize. I mistimed my trip to get here. I'm still interested in staying the rest of the time that I'd booked, if that's okay. And they were like, yeah, sure, that's good. I had to call 2 different people because the number I called initially isn't for inquiries or something like that. I would have been better off in Hamilton. That is saying something. And so the guy was like, I got a hold of the second guy, and the guy was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I can come and pick you up if you want. Rushing water. Purified. Oh, no, I don't want that. I can come and pick you up if you want and take you to where you need to go. I can take you to your thing. And I was like, awesome. And I checked on Google Maps and it said half an hour drive to get from the place to where I was staying. And so I packed up all my stuff and I handed back my room key and I got my $50 deposit back, which was very good. And I just waited out the front of Fillmore's for this guy to come pick me up in his van. Super sketch. This guy, just getting in this random's van. And as I'm standing there out the front of Fillmore's, you see the employees coming in and out, looking very nice. You see, there were a load of cops on the street. That made me a little uncomfortable. But this guy took like an hour to get to me. An absolute hecking hour, which was painful. Just standing on I waited in my room for like 20 minutes, and I was just standing on the street for 40 minutes, waiting for this guy to show up. Finally, he shows up, but he has no idea where to park, so he like parks all the way around the corner, like crosses across the street where you're not allowed to cross, and does all this illegal stuff to get to me. And then he's like, hey, I'm here to pick you up and take you to the place. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So he whacks the stuff in his van. I jumped into his van and he starts driving. I ask him a few questions. He's very cagey and standoffish, which was not a good sign either. And so we eventually got to the place we needed to go. It probably took almost exactly half an hour. So I don't know why it took him so long to get to me. He complained about traffic, but the traffic was fine. So I don't know if it was just in the 40 minutes getting to me, the hour getting to me, that the traffic was bad and then it got better. I'm not sure. But we get there. He takes me to the room. He gives me my key. And then he says, $60, please. Like, sorry, what? $60 for the pickup delivery service. You didn't say anything about that on the phone. Oh, no, it's $60. Well, I don't have $60. I have this $50. And he said, that'll do. And he snatched it out of my hand, and I never saw that guy again. I booked 1 week of accommodation at this place, and I never saw that guy again. Also, this place that I'd booked the accommodation for, it was like a halfway house. It was like a university dorm, and then all of the other people staying in the other rooms were just like in their 40s or 50s from like the Ukraine, who had come to Canada to get a better life for their family, and they were earning money to send back to the Ukraine to fly the rest of their family over to Canada. Like this was the weirdest, most sus place I stayed in the whole trip. It was way more sus than Fillmore's. I don't know what the heck was up. So I got out of there after the week. I went back to the area that Fillmore's was. Whoops, that was an accident. And stayed with that person I met on Tinder for a few days. Slept on their couch, and that was good.
You here to pay your
That was a good, fun time. They worked most of the day. They trusted me so much. Like, we met on Tinder. Later that day, we met up. Then 2 days later, I mentioned that I was leaving Toronto unless I could find some free accommodation. And she said, hey, you can stay at my house. Gave me a key to her place. Went to work during the day, and I could just come and go as I please. She met me on the internet 2 days earlier. It was crazy. But, I mean, it was good. It worked out. It was quite nice. But far out, man. The whole Toronto experience was such a wacky time.